All right, this is Jim Carty of the Patch of the Lymes in Connecticut, and I am here with Mr. Duke Robillard. How you doing, Duke?
I'm doing good. Can't
Good, good,
complain.
good. Who would listen anyway, right?
That's right.
So, I happily got your CD in the last couple of days, and your new CD. They call it Rhythm and Blues with the Duke Robillard Band, and absolutely every cool person in the world is a guest. I
There's
mean,
a lot of cool people on there for
you've
sure.
got a lot of cool people on here. John Hammond, Kim Wilson, Michelle Wilson, Sue Foley, Sugar Ray Norcia, Chris Cote, one of my favorite vocalists, Bruce Bears, Marty Blue, Mark Textera, Doug James, Mike Flanagan, Mark Early, Doug Wolverton, and Matt McCabe. And then you have Anita Session actually doing some backup vocals. And I remember seeing her with Groovosaurus.
Oh yeah.
Remember that
Cool.
band? She was so
I
young and timid back in those days. She was so cute.
I heard of that band, but I never saw them. I
Oh,
weren't aware of them
they
at
played
that time.
Harper's Ferry. You guys would be headlining, and then the more jammy bands would be opening up, and you probably were loading in your equipment and having a cocktail upstairs when bands like Groovosaurus were playing. But
It's possible.
it's possible, possible. But she has a dynamite voice, man.
Oh yeah, she's just unbelievable.
And so is Chris Cote. I mean, and I see that you listed Chris Cote as a member of the Duke Robillard band. Now,
Yes.
um, is he now a full-fledged member of the Duke Robillard band when you tour out now? And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Occasionally there's occasions that he doesn't do a date with us
yeah,
where I sing, but generally speaking, he's on most of our days.
yeah. I mean, he has a range of material and just a vocal range that most
Oh,
people
his
would
vocal range
kill
is
for.
ridiculous.
Ridiculous. It's like who can I compare it to? Like Glenn Hughes or Robert Plant when he was
Yeah, yeah,
in full powers, and he's
yep.
probably darn near close to the same age as a Robert Plant, and he still has that range.
I don't think he's
Maybe
that
not that.
close to age of
I mean,
Robert Plant.
now, I mean, Chris Cote's got to be in his 60s, right? Or no?
I don't think so.
No, you think
No,
he's in his
I think
50s?
I don't honestly know, but I'd say he's probably 50 or early 50s.
Well, hell, I'm 51, and I always thought he was older than me. Now I'm getting upset.
Well, I'm not really sure. I can't tell you for
Well,
sure.
you can't tell once you're in your 70s, you're 20 years plus away from it. You can't tell. It's like me. I mean, I look at college kids now, and I think they may as well be in romper room,
Yeah, I hear you there.
right? And
It's amazing.
when I was 30, I saw a 20-year-old girl, and I was like, I've got to get her phone number. Now I'm like, somebody get her a ball to play with and send her to the playground. I can't even have a conversation with her. But anyway, that's my own little issue now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I was hustling and listening to the record today, and I'm just going to let you tell me about it, there, Duke. Other than the fact that I did want to comment, I remember seeing a BB King interview where BB said something, and I know you're going to know the interview, where he said, "I don't know what happened to my rhythm. I used to be a rhythm and blues artist, and now I'm just a blues artist." Did you
Ah,
see that? Yeah, he's like, somehow they stole my rhythm.
I don't know. I don't know if I heard that, but when he was coming up, that was definitely what they called the music then. His music was
Right.
rhythm and blues.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And but now rhythm and blues today means an entirely different thing. So that's why the album has past tense. They called it rhythm and blues
Yeah.
because we play the authentic original rhythm and blues on this album.
Exactly. And you're just an ethnomusicologist, for the lack of a better word, with all of the music you have in your library, and uh, tell me about your music collection a little bit. I'm curious what you really love in your collection.
Oh, well, it really, it's very varied, I mean, these days, I, I've been collecting 78s for a long time, but in the last 10 years, I kind of ran into massive collections of 10,000 records or more that I was able to pick through and find really great stuff. So I kind of go through, as far as me as a listener, I go through periods where I discover a certain style or a certain artist, and I just spend a long time working on it. I mean, when I say work, I mean absorbing it and understanding, you know, where they come from and who their influences are. And so I'm kind of really back at the beginning of recorded music now.
So do
I
you feel
listen to
that you can
stuff.
still find something that informs your playing from this moment on still?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, as far as, yeah, there's something that inspires me that will get into my playing somehow
Hmm.
from back then. I mean, I listen to records from, probably my earliest record is probably from about 1917 or 15,
Wow.
up through about 1960 when it comes to 78s, because they stopped
Mhm.
making them after 1960. And that's what I really listen to most. I mean, I've got my favorite albums of jazz, of blues, of rock and roll, of folk music, or all different kinds of things. I
Right.
just, ethnic musics that I just love listening to.
Mhm.
uh, but right now I'm on a kick of music of America from the from the teens through the mid 30s is like what I'm concentrating on myself these
Yeah,
days.
yeah. And your keyboard player, Bruce Bears, I've had him on my radio show when I was on WMFO many times. He's really encyclopedic too. I mean, he'll quote you chapter and verse on Mead Lux Lewis or you name it. I mean, do you trade notes with some of the guys you play with on, hey, you should listen to this, or I'm enjoying this?
Oh, sure, of course, yeah, because everybody's into something
Yeah,
different. Even if we play a common music, we play blues and a little bit of jazz, but
yeah.
I'm always getting turned on to all kinds of things by the guys, and they too by me. If
Mm.
if they can sit still and listen to the old stuff I play
Well,
long enough.
Well, I'm thinking back, of some of the shows I've seen you on. You know, I remember hosting at Tanglewood for the centennial of the blues, where you worked with Jay McShan, and of course you've recorded with Jay McShan on Stony Plain, your current label. And I had just a wonderful day visiting with Jay McShan, a true American treasure from Kansas
Yeah,
City. Worked with Charlie Parker and Big Joe Turner and uh, rival, I guess, of Count Basie there in Kansas City. Uh,
yeah.
so I mean, tell me about working with people like him. And when I was in Chicago, I think you had Red Holloway as a guest with you, and
Yes.
I've visited with Red a number of times. I really love him. Tell me about some of these guys that you've met who are truly historically significant and
Well, I've met an awful lot of them. I mean, I've
mm,
played with an awful lot of them.
yeah,
Jay is one of my favorites
yeah,
because Jay McShan, he really is the real thing. I mean, in the same sense that Count Basie is, or Pete Johnson would be as a piano player. I mean, he embodies what the Kansas City style and sound is all about.
mm,
And his band was right up there. I mean, they were one of the best bands. They had great players.
mhm,
Basie comes out on top because he had Lester Young and Herschel Evans and Buck Clayton and Dickie Wells,
yeah,
but all they also had great players in Jay McShan's band, and Jay was a great arranger. A
mm,
lot of the material that he wrote was really great, and plus they had the blues singer Walter Brown,
Walter,
you
yeah,
know,
dynamite,
did
yeah,
did the original Confessing the Blues. Walter Brown was, one of the greatest blues singers. I don't think he lived to be really old, so I don't think he ever got his due or had any kind of comeback. But you know, guys like him and Eddie Cleanhead Vinson, I got to work with quite a few times.
Mm.
Joe Turner, you know, I get to play many times with Muddy. You know, it's just, I've got a list. It's literally about 50 people like that are, when I think if I look at the list and I remember some of the gigs and some of the stories, and it's just, you know, I have to go, did I dream this or did I really live
You were out
this?
with Bob Dylan for a while. I remember the
Yes.
Bob Dylan. And
Yeah.
I actually remember one night where you kind of stole the intentions of a young lady from me in Austin when you were out with the Fabulous Thunderbirds. I never picked that bone with you, actually, Duke.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was making time with this pretty girl, and you were with the Fabulous Thunderbirds, you and Kid Bangham. And I remember Derek O'Brien opening up, and I was taking summer classes at UT Austin. So I said, "Oh, I'll introduce you to some of the guys I know in the band." And you know, this girl just all forgot about me when she started talking to you and Kid Bangham. I was like, "Hello, did you still want to go to lunch later this week?" And she just forgot all about me.
I don't remember that. I don't think I knew you then. I don't think, did I?
Not that. Yeah, we knew each other, but not so well. But I knew Kid, and yeah, I do recall that. You know, I was disappointed. She was really cute, and she just forgot all about me. I think she was visiting her aunt and uncle, and she was going to home to California, and said, "Oh, well, yeah, we'll be in LA in a couple of weeks. You should come back out and see us again." And oh, she was yip yapping with you and Kid, and I was a distant memory. But that's all right.
Don't
I
recall
forgive
that
you.
one.
I forgive you. But I mean, the T-Birds thing, I mean, they were just huge. I mean, you traveled the world over with
Oh
the
yeah.
T-Birds, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
that
guys did
was.
like Rock Plast and in Europe, that was huge. And you know, I just can't even imagine, you know, you were a true rock star there with that outfit.
That was a rock fit. I was a rock star for a couple minutes.
You really were, man. But now, did you enjoy the attention and the rhythm of life with the T-Birds, or did
Yeah,
you?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
There's things about it that I enjoyed, and there were things that I didn't enjoy as much as you know, when you're in a band like they were at that time with big hits and stuff. We kind of the show was pretty much very similar every night, you know,
yeah.
so it wasn't like,
People want to hear the record at a rock show
oh
like
yeah,
that, right?
that's where
Yeah,
at that, you know, when you have a hit record, that's what people want, you know.
sure. Play tough,
So
right? Yeah,
it was that.
play tough enough, like on the record,
Oh, right, right,
right? Or
right.
whatever it is that they want to hear.
Oh, they want to hear all those tunes, you know,
Yep,
which is great. I mean, I really enjoyed it, you
yep,
know,
yep.
but the element of it not changing a lot was a little bit frustrating for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just the way when you get it, when you're at that level and you have a big record, that's the way it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you have to do, you know.
You deliver what's expected. They paid
Yeah.
for it, and you deliver what's expected.
And what was expected was really good. So I mean, it was a great job that way. It's, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not complaining. You know, I love playing in that band.
And of course, you
Great.
have Kim Wilson on your current record. Kim, I mean, one of the greatest harmonica players I've ever heard in my life. I mean, and
Absolutely.
uh, you know, the whole Antone's lineage there, and you know, there was an awful lot of cross pollination between Austin and that Rhode Island thing with Roomful, and
That's
uh,
right.
you know, can you talk to that a little bit?
Well, you know, when the T-Birds first came up north, they came up and nobody knew who they were, and they were playing the Speakeasy.
Yeah.
And we were at Jonathan Swift's, and we got there we were playing Jonathan Swift's the night before they were to play at the Speakeasy.
Mm.
And they heard about us. People told them, you got to go hear Roomful. So they came down to our gig, and they were just like dumbfounded that we were playing all this Texas blues. You
Mm.
know, I was on my T-Bone Kick and Gabe Mouth and
Mm.
all of that, you know, Johnny Watson, and they were just going, what the hell is this guy from Rhode Island playing all that music, playing all that Texas music? They were well, I met them on the break,
Yeah.
and they were just baffled. They couldn't, like, how do you even know about this stuff, you know? And then we went to hear them the following night at the
Mm.
Speakeasy, and we were blown away. And they were playing honky tonk, which is, you know, more of a northern kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And Jimmy said something about, you know, when I was a kid, you had to know how to play Okie Dokie Stomp, which we were playing. And
Yeah.
then, you know, when I was a kid, you proved yourself by being able to play honky tonk, like the record, you know. So
Mm.
it's like we would go looking at each other going like, this is so weird, you know. It's like an opposite reflection,
Right,
you know.
right. And then and I've an occasion to visit with Johnny Nicholas, who of course is from, you know, the same area you are essentially, and
Yeah,
that he's as Texas as they can be, you
he
know.
is now, that's for
He is
sure.
now, yep. You know, it's funny how that all shakes out, and you've certainly shared the stage with Stevie Ray Vaughan. I've seen footage of that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I actually have a CD that was from a live tape from Antone's with
Mm.
Stevie jamming with my band too,
Wow.
which I hope someday I can release as part of this collection of live recordings that I'm putting together, the best of from 50 years of just recordings in clubs and or festivals too.
Yeah.
But I've got some pretty amazing stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah. You must have various, what is it, mostly on cassette from over the years, or what medium
Well,
you working
some
with?
people have taken cassettes and put them on CDs for me.
Mhm.
And so I've got cassettes and CDs, and I just bought a new old high-end cassette player so I can transfer them to digital now.
Yeah, yeah. You got to
Just
digitize
started that
to work with it,
process.
right? And then
Yep.
is Pro Tools your weapon of choice once you get it into a digital format?
Not me. I just work with just a Tascam CD recorder,
Yeah.
and so I'll record it from whatever format it is to a CD, and then have a studio edit it.
Yeah, you have them do the digital magic behind the scenes there.
That's right.
You're all about the live playing, you know, down in the mood room there. You've had, gosh, you know, so many wonderful sessions. Uh,
Yeah, we did a lot of recording down here in like 10 years.
yeah, man.
And I don't use it so much as a studio now. It holds my 78s, and I do my radio show from there.
Yeah, yeah. And you seem to really love the radio show. I mean, uh, what is it they really turned you on, other than the music? Do you get nice feedback from your listeners, or
I do get good feedback. It took a while to
build?
even realize anybody was listening to it,
Yeah.
but well, the most fun thing is once I get in the control room, I lock myself in the control room,
Mhm.
and once I'm actually, you know, it takes me maybe 10 hours to put enough material down, uh, and, you know, going through 78s and carrying boxes back and forth. And I get much more than enough for one show. And then I go in with the CDs that I've made from the 78s. And
Mhm.
that's when I talk and explain about the music. And I really enjoy talking about it. And, you know, I study up on it. So I'm telling them information that, you know, a general person wouldn't really have much idea of. So it's a real fun thing to just spread the knowledge and the joy of that music, because I'm playing music that's, you know, it's all from all different areas of American popular music, from jazz to New Orleans to blues to pop music to comedy to you name it,
Yeah.
I'm just playing old music, just stuff that I deem really fun and cool. So
Yeah, it's that personal experience that you bring to the table that no one else can, that makes it special. It was Holly Harris and May Kramer that gave me the bug to do radio,
sure. Yeah.
working
Yeah,
for
they're
both those
great.
ladies. And they certainly had been around the music for decades by the time I met them. And so I absolutely know what you're talking about, and bringing that personal experience and research to the table when you step in the booth there. It makes it very special for the listener, and it's a connection that uh, I remember going to May's memorial, and the connection people had to May after
Oh yeah,
was just so extraordinary.
she
People,
was amazing.
she was an
She was an
amazing woman.
amazing person.
Yeah, but it's amazing how just the power of radio, and that visit that you have over the airwaves once a week for 3 or 4 hours becomes something you can rely on, and something so familiar. And you know, uh, she made it great. She made it great, and I'm sure your listeners feel the same way. You know,
I hope so,
yeah, I'm sure they do.
but what I'm doing is certainly less what is the word? It's not as tangible to the average person,
Yeah,
uh, because it's really old, spread out, and it's from 78s. I actually play 78s. Some
yeah,
of them very clean, some of them are very old and scratchy sounding, but it's the music that counts, and that's the way that music was actually heard for decades. That was the only form there was,
well,
and
I
so
think that the record
I sound better.
collectors, the record collectors must love you, though. I mean, I remember one of the first times you and I had quite a long visit was with my friend Perry Patrone out in Pittsburgh. You remember Perry?
Oh, I forgot all about him.
Well, he's long passed, unfortunately, but
Oh no,
yeah.
I didn't
And
know.
yeah, he's long since passed. But you know, you had a gig in a park, and Perry had seen me out at some other shows, and "Hey, how do you know Duke, and how do you know Gatemouth Brown, and I've never seen you in town before." And that night he kind of cornered me when I was chatting with you. And but
Ah,
Pittsburgh was the first city that I lived in that they had just a huge record collector club, and all things retro were just of reverence in Pittsburgh. And
ah,
I think that there are pockets of people that really are like you, that just love to dig into the history, and the older the better.
yeah, yeah.
You know
Well, it's real. I always found in history in general the most interesting subject. When
yeah,
I was in school, I was the only subject I found interesting. So
I agree.
and it carries over to music.
Yeah. So I guess we better talk a little more depth of the record, though. So tell me
That would
about
be
the
good.
making of the record, and how you assembled this great crew, and what you want to highlight about it.
Well, everything really. I mean, the idea is, well, we had made an album the year before called Blues Bash, which
Mhm.
was similar but much less songs and less guests on it. But the idea was that it was going to be a old-fashioned, just a really good danceable blues and rhythm and blues album.
Mhm.
And we did that one just as the pandemic was starting.
Yeah.
And I realized if I didn't just run into the studio and make it right away, really fast. That there wouldn't, we may not be able to make an album for God knows how long.
Yeah.
So, you know, a year went by, and then last winter I just, every year I make a record. I just have to, you know, it's kind of the way I am.
Yeah.
And so during the winter, things, it might have been a little pause in the COVID spread, I guess, maybe. And we all just decided we're going to go in the studio and we'll wear masks and we'll do whatever we have to do, stay distanced. And we all did. And, you know, I just brought in my band, and I spent a lot of time looking for material. And then once we got the material, I figured out who I thought would be singing it, who would be best singing it. And Chris was new to us. He actually hadn't joined the band at that point. So I gave him a lot of tunes, more than anybody else on the album. And thinking hopefully this will work out and he'll sing with us. And all those tunes came out great. And then as we started talking to different guests, we kind of I tailored the material to whoever it was that was going to sing. And with Kim, you know, he wanted to do something he already knew. He didn't want to like start looking for songs. He wanted to, you know, so we suggested tunes that he had written and done with the T-Birds, but they hadn't been heard in a long time. So that's how we came up with his tune. I came up with the idea of the one that Sue Foley and I sing together, No Good Lover. It's a tune I always loved by Mickey and Sylvia, Mickey Baker and Sylvia Vanderpool, her name is. Anyway, Sue heard it and liked it and decided that it would work for her voice. It worked great for her voice. She sang it great and plays it great. So it you know, it was pretty easy. I let John Hammond pick his own tunes because he and I are, you know, I backed him a real lot, and we've done tours together. And so I just figured, you know, whatever you want to do is going to be fun, and I know it's going to fit. You know, so it just did. And he came in, and it was so quick. I wish we cut more tunes because it was over too quick. It was really fun. It was really good, and it's just like one take or two of 2 songs, and it was over. You know.
Next year's project, just do a whole thing with you and John Hammond. Why not?
Well, and we're talking about that.
Yeah,
actually,
that'd be dynamite.
Actually, we are.
Yeah.
It's a few legal problems right now, but we're trying to work that out.
You tell me who to take care of offline. And, you know,
Okay.
I'm a guy at Wolzab that I subcontract these things to, and we can get it taken care of. So yeah, I mean, dynamite record, dynamite stuff, and you're coming our way in June 30th. You're coming to the Katharine Hepburn Cultural Arts Center in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and it's always fun when you come down to the quiet little corner of the world here where I am in Southeastern Connecticut. But
and the Cate's one of the best venues anywhere. I love it.
Amazing. You know, there's another really well kept secret that is right in Old Lyme. The Old Lyme Inn has a jazz club that's a world-class jazz club now called the Side Door Jazz Club. Yeah, I mean, Houston person's coming soon. You know, Bobby Watson. I interviewed Bobby Watson with, you know, he was here a number of times with the Art Blakey you know, tribute band that he had with Ralph Peterson and a whole bunch of other stalwarts. You know, I've seen Russell Malone here. I mean, just top entertainment, and it's 65 seats. They don't.
I might drive down there just to see Houston person.
He's coming up in a couple weeks. It's the Side Door Jazz Club. I'll email you the website. But
oh, wait a minute! I know the Side Door. That's in, where is it?
Old Lyme. It's in my town.
Old Lyme. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've played there once.
Oh, you did? Well, you know,
yeah.
I was gonna say that it'd be great, you know, you and like maybe a Scott Hamilton, get yourself in there. I mean, you know, the owner and I have gotten to know each other. I can twist arms, whatever it takes. But you know, I actually suggested that maybe he want to do like a Sunday blues thing, and I could help him pull it together. But he wants to keep it a jazz room and not mess with
Yeah,
his branding. And I don't
yeah.
blame him for that. And he's got a great thing going. And you know, it's like Old Home Week every weekend. You know, that there are people that drive from New Jersey and New York City and Litchfield County. I mean, there are regulars that go from New Jersey through Manhattan, past all those fancy jazz clubs, and spend the weekend in little old Lyme, Connecticut, because they prefer the vibe in this room
Oh,
instead.
it's a beautiful small club with great sound.
Perfect sound, and there's no minimum on what you spend, and they don't turn the house. You get 2 full sets. You know, I feel spoiled. I went to see Joey D at the new Scullers, which is a bigger room now than when Fred Taylor ran it. And I was so disappointed after one set, and then they usher me out, and I'm so used to going to an all-night jazz show now from 8 to almost midnight, and
Yeah,
and having this personal interaction with the artists afterwards. You know, the club owner lets me sit there at the bar and buy the guys drinks and listen to stories. You know, just what I want to do, right?
yeah,
And you know, you go to the big city like Boston or New York, you don't have that nice long experience of an entire night with the artists. And
yeah,
I'm lucky 10 minutes away, I do. So I feel spoiled. Same thing with the Katharine Hepburn Theater.
yeah.
It's a
That's a
gem,
great place.
great room. So so traveling with you now, the core band. So you said you've added Chris, you've had Bruce Bears forever. You using Marty Blue regularly on bass, are you?
Yeah, yeah. He's
Mark,
with us.
yeah, Mark Texera and Doug James on the Barry and tenor sax. And
That's it. Yeah,
man, it's an amazing
great
bunch.
band.
It's a great band, you know. Oh, I guess I skimmed over, and then you get Sugar doing some vocals and harmonica on the new record.
Oh yeah, Sugar's great on
Yeah,
his tracks are fabulous,
well,
and it's Michelle Wilson also.
oh, she's got vocal power to spare.
Oh yeah,
She doesn't have to put the pedal down all the way. She goes halfway, and yeah, you can take away her microphone at that point. You know, a true blues
oh
shot.
yeah.
She's
She's very.
amazing. You know, and Chris Cote is like that too. He
Oh yeah,
doesn't need a
he's got so much
microphone.
power. It's ridiculous.
It's insane. It's insane. So good. What else do we need to know, Duke, before I let you get back to your afternoon of fun?
Well, one thing I'd just like to mention that we are doing 2 shows for our CD release party. The 25th of March, we're going to be at the Narrows Center for the Arts in Fall River. And they're also doing a visual show of my paintings and some of my photography of classic blues and jazz people. So we're going to have an art exhibit also besides the gig, and so it's going to be, and Sugar Ray and Michelle are both going to be on that gig as special guests. And the next night, March 26th, we will be at TCAN Center for the Arts in Natick with the same lineup except no art, but the same band and the same guests. So it's going to be 2 really special nights.
And
We'll be all warmed up by the time we get to the Cape.
that's fantastic. And you've been doing the photography a long time. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
in New York City with the new Guitar Summit, and you had your photo equipment at the ready if you needed it on the road. I mean, how many years do you think you were carrying some nice photo equipment on the road just to
Well, I'd
capture
say
moments?
probably like 10 or 12 years. And then when digital came in and it became hard to get the film you wanted, or it became hard to get people to uh,
develop or whatever.
develop, black and white.
Yeah.
It just became too hard, and I didn't want to really be that involved in digital stuff. Although digital printing from black and white negatives is something that I do love, and it can be really a good combination. But so I don't do much photography anymore. I do a little, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but I at one point I was shooting album covers for Jay McShan and Jimmy Witherspoon and my own records, and I was doing a lot of album covers back then.
Did you take that picture of Jay sitting? I think remember sitting in a chair with his cane and his hat on and stuff. Did you take that picture?
Yeah, if that's the one, there's one cover where he's sitting on the steps of the Kansas City Musicians Union, and he's got a cane and a hat.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
That
love
album cover, I shot that, and they sent me to Kansas City, and I spent the day going around, and they were just making that movie, Kansas City.
Oh, they were.
I think it was it called Kansas City?
Yeah, the Altman movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they had the facades of all the clubs from the 30s up. So we shot in front of some of those, and I got pictures of all those club facades that, the hot clubs that were, where they had the all night cutting sessions and everything. And so that was really great.
And then I'm sure Jay made you take him to Gates Barbecue.
We took him to a steakhouse after, actually, one of those famous Kansas City steakhouses that had walls painted with murals of cattle runs and stuff, and cowboys. It's pretty amazing.
Can't go wrong there. Now, your artwork, I've seen your photography at Chan's and occasion to see some other times, but what mediums are you painting, or what are you doing now?
I'm painting, and I paint abstracts. I've fooled around with painting a lot in my life, but when I lost my rotator cuff, when it let go, back about, I don't know, it must have been about 8 years ago or so now, I couldn't play guitar for a year and a half, and it was driving me crazy. So I just took up painting, and I had a lot of frustration and anxiety. So I just started painting abstracts, just kind of letting out my frustration and emotion. And I really loved it. I just found like a lot of meaning for me personally in doing that. So I'm still into it, and I've been painting all along. But in that year and a half that I couldn't play, every day I was painting. I was doing 2 or 3 paintings a day. I was just completely obsessed because I couldn't play guitar,
Had you some instruction at some point, or did you just get to it?
No, I just did it. When I was young, I would draw, and I was good at drawing. And my brother, I don't know if you know my brother Jerry, he's been an artist like his whole life, like 60 years. He's been professional artist and painting ships and seas and landscapes, and he's really, really good, and he's very well known in the East, and so I don't know. I think my older brother, who isn't with us anymore, could really draw well too. So I think it's kind of like a family gift. Of course, Jerry, my brother Jerry, concentrated on it, and I went to music, But it's certainly something that I can fall back onto, that I love to do. I could someday, if I can't play guitar anymore, I can still see myself painting for sure.
It could be your retirement side hustle that ends up making you more money than music ever did.
You never know about that kind of stuff.
It's
not for me to say.
Yeah, I remember I went to an art exhibit. George Wein had an exhibit in honor of his wife after she passed, Joyce Wein, and she had attended Boston University, and Miles Davis made a very Jackson Pollock-like painting that was very painterly and thrown on the canvas with blacks and whites and silvers and golds, and I just loved it. And I told George that I said, you know, when he passed, would he mind giving it to me? I really loved it. And of course, he laughed at me, and I was joking and pulling his leg. But he said, you know, you think that's funny, but Miles tried to take this back from my wife and I. You know, Miles had come out of retirement, and you know, Fred Taylor had been instrumental in that, and George Wein, and you know, Miles had given this painting to Joyce and George Wein to thank them for helping him come out of retirement. And then once he was able to sell a few paintings for some real money, he said, George, I'm going to need that painting back. And George told him where to go and how to get there. He says, that was a gift. You can't just do that. That's not cool, man. Well, Miles was like, hey, this is like a money crank, baby. You know, this is better than doing gigs. So you never know, Duke.
It's true.
You know, you should entertain offers when you have the exhibit, for sure.
Oh, I do. I've
Yeah.
sold quite a few. I've had quite a few shows, and you know, it certainly is a nice way to augment my income.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it, man. Well, great. You know, the other thing I was going to ask is, do you have any instruments that you're currently in love with? I know that, you know, we lost Jay Giles, and I know you and Jay swapped the guitars off and on sometimes, and you love
Yeah.
sourcing new instruments. Do you still have some of Jay's former instruments? And
I don't have any of Jay's.
Yeah.
I never did actually, but I certainly I wasn't aware of what went down when, you know, after you had died. I guess they auctioned them off, and I never heard about the auction or anything.
That's a shame that you didn't.
Certainly were a guitar too that I would like to have had because it was Jay's, and also just because he had great instruments, you know.
He really did, yeah. So do you have any instruments from any friends from years past that you really treasure, or anything that you really enjoy?
Not anymore.
No.
You know, I've always traded and sold and bought instruments quickly. I really enjoy playing different guitars.
Yeah.
So I've been trying different kinds of guitars and seeing how they make me play different.
Yeah.
So all the old ones are gone. You know, everything I play now is modern. They a modern version of an old guitar.
Yeah.
You know.
So what's the longest standing piece in your collection then, or what's the standard amount of time that you'll keep something that you're routinely gigging with?
I've had guitars that I've kept for 20 years or so.
Yeah.
But usually not longer than that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm really sorry I got rid of them after I did. But you know, people are more important than guitars, so I don't feel bad about it for long. And that just means that there's a new one out there that I'm going to find it's going to really turn me on, you know.
No guitar amp that can replace Lorraine. She's a dynamite lady.
You bet. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Well, this was fun, and I can't wait until you come visit us in June, and you know, hopefully we'll see each other before that.
You bet, man. I hope so.
Yeah. All right, Duke. Well, you keep in touch, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.